journalist, and he's very often on the screen. CNN, Finances, or CNN in Spanish. So, well, all of you are very welcome. We are very grateful for your presence today. This is a very important milestone for the exchange between Mexico and China and Hong Kong. And as you can see, everybody has a boarding pass. And that, I hope, will be probably the next step, right? And I will introduce now.
Still trying to do that in Cathay. I mean, I think the other thing that's significant about Cathay, really, for here, and I was just saying to Richard earlier, you know, Cathay is still very much on a growth path. Although I think we're in the top 10 world airlines in terms of passenger kilometers, you know, how many passengers we carry, how far. You know, the next 6, 7, 8 years, we still have a whole bunch of airplanes coming. Especially starting in June, we get our first of the new, you know, kind of Dreamliner-like airplanes. We didn't order Dreamliners, we ordered the Airbus versions, but it's still a plastic airplane like the Dreamliner. And that should allow us to, you know, serve more and more destinations very efficiently. So we anticipate serving even more points in North America, more points in Europe, and everything. So Cathay certainly, I think, paralleling the point about trade between Mexico and Asia, is still very much on a growth path. And there's, in some ways, I think you could say the best is yet to come, because there's a lot more places to serve, a lot more connections to make between places, and we are very much embarked on a process to do just that. And at the end of that time, I think really, I mean, our overarching goal in Cathay is to, you know, connect Hong Kong to the world and connect the world to Hong Kong. And we think the better we do that, the better it is for Hong Kong, the better it is for all of Hong Kong's trading partners, and the better it is for all the consumers, you know, points in between. Because I think that somehow trade and travel are very uplifting and opening sort of things. They teach you about new places and new people and new traditions, and you make new friends and you try new meals and all sorts of great things. So we really want to encourage that, just as we have to do it for some 67. So on that positive note of a lot more to come out of Cathay, I'm going to hand over to James and his 4 beautiful children to tell you a little bit about the Guadalajara operation, what's led us in that direction, and where we see that going. So here's James.
Okay, thank you, John. Thank you, Alicia, and thank you all for coming this morning. Today is the second flight. It's taking off this evening from Hong Kong to Guadalajara. Our first flight left on Saturday. I'm pleased to report that it left with a good load of 45 tons of goods from Asia to Guadalajara. The flight was a 747-8. The Dash 8 is the newest Boeing freighter that can take 130 tons of cargo. So it's basically a 747 stretched with the new wing engines. So it's the most fuel-efficient way of carrying cargo long distances. And for better or worse, Guadalajara is quite a long way from Hong Kong. And for us, that is a major problem. You know, fuel at nearly $110 a barrel for Brent is for freighters.
Now, our speakers for this morning, I will start with Mr. John Slosar. John Slosar became the chief executive of Cathay Pacific.
Forewarning or for early announcement. AmCham next year will be doing much more increased attention to transportation logistics issues for Hong Kong, and also because of what we see happening in the region. And I think it's a terrific time for this cargo flight. It's well timed, maybe a little bit early on the curve, a little bit, but not too early. We see huge supply chain.
And we truly try to, you know, promote the message that Hong Kong really is a bridge to Asia, not only China, such as Mexico is a bridge to Latin America and North America. And so we are grateful that, you know, you've been so dedicated to fighting the obstacle and the hoops and challenging them to make this happen. And we're very proud that one of my day-to-day operations is we import food and beverage. and our office in Guadalajara, our Mexico office is actually in Guadalajara. So we'll certainly be using your services. We start out with processed foods, tequila, coffee, avocado oil, agave syrup, and so forth. We're importing Hong Kong, China, Japan, Korea. We hope to continue.
Changes going on in Asia. All our members were involved in China and Southeast Asia and Mexico, actually globally, in apparel and footwear, and increasingly in other fields, high tech, as well as has been mentioned.
Vamos sentados, mira, silla.